Hey, what's up, guys? Sam here, kicking off the free video for Friday, March 3rd, 2023. So, as usual, just wrapped up the premium video for the fine folks in the gold room. And what a week it was. What a week. Actually, what the last 2 days, really. 48 hours. How much can change in 48 hours? Bullard sent it down. Bostic sent it up. The BB reversal. So, a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about. One, let me just kind of start by saying, going into next week, I don't expect that stock picking is going to be very important. I think it's kind of, we're in an all or nothing market. So, today the breadth readings got up extremely high. You had the advanced decline get all the way up to 2,000. So, what does that really mean? It just means that you can basically throw a dart, and as long as you nail the direction of the SPY, you'll nail the direction of whatever stock you're looking at. I'm going to give you a little bit more nuance than that, but that's basically the way that I'm looking at the market. So I'm just going to focus on, again, three things, the same three things we've been focusing on in these Friday videos, which is going to be the index, the bond market, and the dollar, right? And we want to use these three pieces, put them together. If we can understand those three pieces, then we know exactly what to do when it comes to whatever stock it is that you're looking at. So let's start here with the SPY. Very proper reversal candle this week on SPY. You actually closed at the highs, and you basically flushed out last week's lows. What's really interesting here is that in the middle of the week, actually all the way up until 9, maybe 10:30 Central today, there was actually a red arrow here, right there on the weekly sell signal, which is the strongest sell signal you can have. It's a mid-level sell, very similar to this. But the week closed so strong that by the time the candle had closed for the week, the indicator had moved and the arrow went away. So that's really, really impressive. So what are you left with? Well, you're left with a completely healthy looking setup here. You had a bounce off the 200. Yesterday's candle flushed the 200 with the Tesla news, which is kind of a funny way to do it. And then you actually now have the strongest buy signal in place, which is a mid-level buy. If you look across the chart here, you actually don't have a mid-level buy like this. Mid-level buy means it went up, down, and catches before it hits the middle or at the middle and gives you a buy signal. That right there is the strongest possible buy signal. That's being met with a histogram. You see how the histogram is going from red to yellow. That's the beginning stage of a turn. So that gets a check. It's early, but it gets a check. The trend oscillator positively crossed again as of this week, which is extremely rare, but again, a very notable signal. So these combination of signals here, in terms of the momentum signals, all three of these check out. Are they particularly strong? No. The strongest one is right here. This one is really strong. The other two are moderately strong. But then the structure of the chart, which is actually more important than the indicators. So these are, the indicators. I, structures up here. S, that's all bad looking S. The structure matters more than the indicators. But what you want to see for really good trades is for everything to sync up, right? And in this spot, this is as good as it can possibly sync up. So the tell for next week, because you've had basically one of the more impressive vertical rallies off the Bostic comments starting yesterday, mid-afternoon. The tell for next week is how the market handles the first pullback to the hourly 21 on SPX. If the first pullback to the hourly 21 on SPX is a buy, if it holds, then the whole structure is valid. You can buy that and push it into about 4,060 to 4,080 on the SPX. Again, I'm at least for myself, I'm certainly waiting for a pullback to, one, validate the structure, and two, to buy. I don't think anyone should be buying up here unless you just got short and you got, a little bit of a face ripper. The only folks that I see would be buying here are forced buyers that are getting stopped out from their shorts. Natural buyers, I think, will come in closer to the hourly 21 on SPX. So the index itself looks fine. There was never really that much of an issue with the index. The bigger issue was with the bond market, and I'm going to show you that with the ZT here, which is the 2-year notes. So there's three kind of legs to this stool. The first leg is going to be what the SPY is doing, and SPY gets a check. It's perfectly fine. The second leg is going to be what the dollar is doing, and that one is actually pretty simple. We'll close with that one. And then the third leg of the stool is what are the bonds doing? And you can certainly choose your own adventure when it comes to the bonds. I'm going to choose to show you the ZT, but you can certainly also use something like the ZN, which is the 10-year. You could use the ZB, which is a 30-year. You could use the TNX, which is a 10-year rate, or you could even use HYG. If you're really keen, you'd use all of them, but it doesn't matter which one you choose. They're all basically the same thing. Just make sure you have a very deep understanding of at least one of the products that I just mentioned, and it'll capture the spirit well enough. So with the notes here, using this as a proxy for the entire bond market, you basically are trying to make a double bottom here. And you see how it actually made a lower low here than it did back here? So it gives you that flush out effect, right? Anyone who would have had any poor soul that had a very tight stop from back here and caught this move and said, okay, I'll put my stop at break even. Well, they got hit yesterday, right? So this has the effect of flushing out the market in a sense. And now what you need to see here, because keep in mind, the market gets a check. The dollar, which we'll close with, gets a check under 105. But ZT or the bond market, it's questionable. It's questionable. It hasn't yet done the thing. So what you need to see on ZT is actually a close above today's high. If you see a close above today's high, that opens up the door for a retest of the 21. Above the 21, it opens up a retest here, and then above there, then we got something. Then we really got something. But at least for now, just the main thing that I would stress to you is just understand what the bond market is doing. ZT, I think, is the easiest way to do it, and it's actually really, really simple. So if you make a close above today's high, I think the short squeeze in the market and in the bond market and all markets will continue. And if you make a lower close than the Thursday low, then I think it all falls apart. Strategically looking at this, it looks correct to continue pushing higher, but just understand your levels, right? The market isn't about predicting, it's about reacting and having a plan. So the plan there is the X's. Above today's high, the short squeeze continues in everything. Below Thursday's low, it all falls apart. Pretty straightforward, I think. Pretty straightforward. So then let's lastly close up with the dollar here. And then I'll kind of tie it all together just to kind of give you the idea on a platter. For those of you that would prefer somebody do the jigsaw puzzle for you. We actually called this in the gold room yesterday. I had the session right before Bostic started speaking, and we got long 4,000 flies for today. This was at 39.40 when we did that. So they were 60 points out of the money with 1 day to go. It was at 39.40. We put on 4,000 butterflies for today, and truly, truly impressive that this thing closed at 40.45. So we did take those off at a profit, a little bit over a double, but what a move! What a move to have tomorrow's pin today. So lastly here on the dollar, keep it simple. We already covered this one. The signals here are not overwhelming necessarily, but just the main thing to watch on the Dixie as a catch-all for the dollar, 105. So the plan is if the market holds the hourly 21 on the pullback, I don't want to chase it without a pullback first. That gets a check. If Dixie's under 105, that gets a check. And as long as the ZT it gets above today's high, that gets a check. The only thing that could break this is if the dollar gets back above 105, that would not be good. If the ZT breaks Thursday's low, that would not be good, and then this would invalidate that. So that's the trading plan going into next week. Put yourself in the mind of the shorts. What were they shorting? And then that's really what you want to focus on. So even though there might be some really ugly charts out there that are, things that have been beaten up, like maybe like the Rivians of the world or things like that, I don't think you have to go down that low in the totem pole. But essentially the way that I'm looking at it is this is a short squeeze, right? This is a mechanical function of too many folks having gotten short, especially in the bond market. So if we start to see all these pieces coalesce next week, and you know them, you know what the pieces are now, there's 3 pieces, then the best plays are going to be found in tech. So I'm thinking Microsoft, AMD, NVIDIA, semiconductors in general, software in general. Basically, if all of these pieces coalesce next week, just throw a dart at tech, and I don't really think you can go wrong. But the main thing before you throw that dart, just make sure you understand the pieces of the puzzle, make sure they're all fitting together nicely based on the plan that I've laid out for you. And if that's the case, then party on until the next video at least. Alright guys, that's my time. Before you go somewhere else on the YouTube, go ahead and click that like button. It does help us. So make sure you click the like button. If you're not already subscribed, leave us a subscribe as well. And we will catch you for the next video on Friday. Cheers. Hey traders, this is Sam with Simpler Trading. I want to thank you for watching today's video. Hopefully you found the information in it helpful. If you did, leave us a like, leave us a comment. It really does help us out with the algorithm. And if you want to see us trade live with our own real money and be part of the community, come and check us out at simplertrading.com.